there was a story, which again, we're not, and just to be fair here, this isn't a full-on report, but Gary Washburn, one of our pals over at the Globe, threw out.
We got to get Gary on a show.
Yeah, threw out a name that he found interesting, which is Zach Lavine in free agency next year. And again, the type of gymnastics the Celtics have to do to clear enough space to sign somebody and this and that, it's significant, especially considering all of the extensions and everything they did this offseason. I'm not even going to pretend to know how the money works. When we talk about these guys, we literally only talk about the fit.
Right.
Is this the type of guy?
They'll figure it out.
Is this the type of guy you would want? And it isn't. It's an intriguing thing because it would be this instead of Beal. Would this be somebody you would consider? And again, it's Olympic teammate of Tatum. He's younger. He's a guy whose game is clearly on the rise. There's
he's a trainer partner of Tatum's too, with Drew Hanlon there. They work out together.
And
Drew Hanlon, yeah.
I've mentioned him a lot during the year. It's not low-key only because he was in Chicago. It's not low-key. He made the All-Star team, made the Olympic team. His season, we talk about Jalen's efficiency. This is one of the most impressive.
He had a similar start to Jalen. He was an All-NBA guy first half.
Yeah. But he finished his numbers, again, points per game, almost exactly or in and around what Tatum had, but his shooting percentage is off the charts. He was almost a 50-40-90 guy. He was 51, 40, 44, and 86 or something like that. Insanely efficient. In addition to his athleticism and a lot of other things he brings to the table. He's an interesting guy. I could talk myself into this in a heartbeat. I could talk myself into this over Beal in a heartbeat too, because of age and position as well. But you guys take your turn. What are your thoughts here?
I like the fit. I think it's a great fit. Someone that can move the ball, absolutely. Someone who can pass. Get the ball moving. I think that's huge, and also someone that's motivated. Whether we're talking about high end scoring or whether we're talking about a guy who hasn't been that deep in the playoffs before, doesn't know what that's quite like. That's a guy who I think would be a good fit. The money situation is where things would get a little dicey.
That's not our problem, Josue. That's not our problem.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't get paid enough to worry about that.
To answer your question, yeah, I love the fit, and I think that's the kind of guy who would fit this transition, into the new era with Ime Udoka, and I just think when you look at the situation heading into the season, it's great to imagine, but we still have to play things through. But this is that part of the year, right? This is that part of summer where we do stuff like this. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah, Bradley Beal more likely, although to John's credit, and I know this is something you want to get into, is comparing those two. I think you got something there, John, in terms of him being more preferable, whether it's the age, the athleticism, the burst, the defense compared to Beal. There's a lot here to love when you compare him directly to Bradley Beal. Now, Beal's probably the more explosive, versatile scorer at this point. But I think there are real defensive concerns with Bradley Beal there in terms of him being able to stay in front of people, switch, all those different things that he struggled with on that side of the ball there in Washington, D.C. I think Lavine, you get a better defender. Sort of his pedigree coming into the league more so than offense was on the defensive side of the ball. And, an incredibly fast, twitchy player who's developed an incredible shot, can play on and off the ball, as Josue mentioned there. He'd be phenomenal. But the Bulls do have something in place here that does at least move your eyes. I mean, I was talking to some Bulls fans who think they could be a home court team next year. That's how excited they are about their team out there.
Sure, they made their moves.
Bulls fans think that?
Well, the last few years wouldn't give me much confidence in that. I'm actually lower on the Bulls than most people. I don't think they have the defense.
The defense.
I like Ball as a point of attack guy, but system-wise, Vucevic down the middle isn't an anchor. I don't think they have an anchor guy. And Patrick Williams probably has a little while to go here.
I feel like they overspent on pretty good, and they'll be a little bit disappointed in Chicago. It's clearly better.
They need to underperform.
They missed the playoffs last year.
You need to have a bad Bulls season for Zach Lavine to, really consider going to somewhere else, because obviously he can get more money staying with the Bulls. But if things really go south, then it's more likely that maybe he decides to look elsewhere or more teams come knocking. But if you're the Celtics, having a second option isn't a bad thing. I mean, we talked about how they're putting all their eggs in the Beal basket and they're going to get completely burned. Well, obviously things have changed since we thought that was possibly going to be what they were going to do.
When it was automatic.
Right, exactly. Oh, yeah. It's happening. Beal's coming to Boston. We should go back, roll the tapes back. I think that's how
Who said
Xanis.
that?
I think that's how Xanis started the video. I was like, well, it's settled.
Cue that.
Print the Beal
the
jerseys.
GIF of from the Office. It's happening, guys. Not a drill.
Yeah, it's happening. It's happening. But no, I mean, have another guy at least.
You mean Arrested Development?
Yeah.
It's
No, I
happening,
mean-
isn't it? The George Michael. But
But
anyway,
anyways,
yes, some idiot said that on the show. I don't agree. I didn't agree then.
I knew
don't
when
now.
I heard that. When I heard that, I was like, "Oh no, he's getting a little."
I didn't
too
care. I
carried
knew what
away."
I was doing. It was. I knew what
I
I was
remember.
doing.
I remember before we went on the air, you guys were like, "We're going on." I was like, "All right, it's just kind of jumping the gun a little bit, but we'll see."
So
But,
again, the money
you
thing's
see,
interesting here.
viewers. You see, John doesn't just trigger you guys; he triggers us too.
Yeah.
So when we get into the money on this, like it is interesting because the Bulls don't have the like he got traded from the Timberwolves in the Jimmy Butler deal, so they don't have like that original team like supermax power with him, and he obviously isn't an All NBA guy either. So he could get a significant upgrade. His extension was pretty capped too, so he's actually going to be an unrestricted free agent next summer. There's no player option or anything like that. So he's going to be completely out there. You can get a meeting with him next summer. He can go on this little tour if he wants to, unless he's just going to bridge the next contract. But the interesting thing about
Kelly Olynyk brings him here.
Well, but yeah, Bobby. So yeah, he's going to go on the full tour, but the Bulls can still offer him more than anybody else can offer him.
Yeah, but it's limited for a few more years, I think. Like, he has to kind of do a bridge the way Julius Randle would have had to do with the Knicks to, like, get to the actual big money with the Bulls there, like a 2-year deal and then a 4-year deal with the extension after that. He might just take the, hundreds something million or whatever it's going to be. I think, like, the extension would have been 100 flat, which would have been way too low. He'll probably be, like, the mid-100s. But my point is, Boston's offer as a team, like taking him away from Chicago, would actually be more comparable than, let's say, the Celtics offering Beal a contract, because the Wizards can give him the supermax. So he's not like the super
the
huge
super
money that he plays in
duper
Chicago.
max.
He's a max player, but his max is lower than Beal's max.
Yeah, because Chicago's only had.
He's more affordable. Beal's going to sign his supermax, and then you're talking trade with him. So you're bringing in a guy who's going to be making $45 million. Like that's how that works now.
Yeah, so you're talking
there's
trade
no
here
way.
too.
Yeah, right.
So you got to get under the hard cap if you're Boston. You got to find the right package that appeals to Chicago and all that kind of stuff, because obviously the cap's out the window now. But again, I think you're on to something there, John, in terms of, all right, is this guy more favorable just as a player than Beal? Because I think there's a case there.
Yeah, I could get down. Jimmy,
Well, do you think there's a...
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask Jimmy, just the player. What are your thoughts?
I love the player. I think he's super versatile. He's athletic as hell. He's younger. I mean, it seems like him and Tatum had a good rapport going on. I'm not going to fan the Flames and make it seem like Tatum and Lavine are like best friends or anything, but I'm sure they have a decent relationship.
They like each other better than Jalen.
So wasn't Team USA?
Team USA was that.
Yeah, they do.
Team USA was probably Durant, Tatum, Lavine, right? Those two were awesome together on Team USA.
They were
the
awesome.
guys that drove
Absolutely.
things.
And I think that might be, I'm sure that like something that crossed Gary's mind when he thought about it. Like, you know what, these guys played together. They, had a good time. They looked like they played well. And who knows, if things go south in Chicago, as they have in past years, then, the Celtics are a possibility. Now, you want to get into the whole Brown or Lavine, that's a completely different, topic.
Lakers fans are dreaming too now that he's a clutch guy, though. So
right, well, that's the thing. He signs with clutch. Like, they obviously are going to just try to, maximize everything that they possibly can. So, it's still a pipe dream. At the end of the day, we're talking about a superstar player coming to Boston, and rarely does it happen. So I'm not going to get my hopes up, but we'll see how this season plays out. The Celtics need to play well too. If players want to come to Boston, they have to sell them on
That's
success
a fair question.
more than anything.
Who's
the Vegas honeymoon?
Tell him, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Sell them on success. That's what you have to sell them on. You're not going to sell them on the weather.